See, Mr. Burns, as you can tell, we have animals, livestock, panels, right next to the road. Not way 500 feet away from the road, right off the road. See, look, we got horses here, we got cows.
Oh, I could almost reach my hand out and pet him.
Oh yeah, look at that, cows right there. And you just walk, I mean, it's right there. You run off the road for a second, you're gonna hit the fence. So look at this, we got animals. So, St. Martin Parish is known for farming and agriculture. And as you can see right here, right, there's a second or two away from my little farm, there's animals.
Sure.
See what we have here?
And we're right off the road.
Right off the road, got some cows, some horses. Beautiful place, you know. Everybody loves to, you know, love St. Martin Parish for the opportunity to have cows and horses. And there you go. Right here on Duchamp, this is where Trooper Lopez lives.
It's Trooper Scott Lopez,
Scott
correct?
Lopez, yes, with Troop I. This is the
beautiful
driveway.
home.
Oh yeah, beautiful home. See his unit. This was the driveway where he spun out, turning around about 4:30. I think 4:30, June 14th. That was the driveway where he left, following one of my trucks. Where he had a problem with us passing on his road. In front of his house.
And he did refer to it as his road?
Oh yeah, it's his road.
His road, all right.
Changed the road to Lopez Road. And this is that's the address where he left, following us, and that's where Troop I asked the question, well, did I go down his private road or his private driveway? I said no, this was Duchamp Road. He doesn't, it's not a private driveway or a private road.
All right.
When I called Troop I asked the question, well, can he stop me from going to my, I mean, you've seen the place. He has about maybe an acre. Yeah. So.
Whereas you have what, 30?
I have 33 acres, and that's why I brought it to Mr. Trooper Lopez's attention that, sir, you have the right to get to your address, your 1 acre. I should be able to have that right to get to my 33 acres. And after me calling Troop I, there was a phone call made immediately, apparently to him, and then he called me back right away. And at first, I'll back up. Troop I, you know, the conversation I had with them, it was said we'll just chalk it up to Mr. Lopez having a bad day. And then immediately he called me back. We had a good conversation. He brought it to my attention. He was working with the parish. This was June 14th. He had already been working with the parish. We're yet to find out who at the parish he was working with. Anxious to know if who that person or persons might be with the parish. But you know, we had a conversation. I asked him, you know, explained to him that he should be very much aware of how much work we've been doing on the property that I bought, because the place was known as drug infested. I mean, meth heads running through the property, tents set up. And he said, look, I don't care what you're doing on your property. I don't want you coming down my road. And
don't want you coming down my road.
Down my road. So this is the road my guy's driving. As you can see,
yeah, this is once again his home. In fact, his unit is
unit's there. It's about whatever time, not quite 5 o'clock.
And by the way, just for our viewing audience, I made public records request because the encounter took place with Billy's driver. I did not reveal the date. Billy has since, as he's divulged to you, it was June the 14th. But I gave a very wide range of dates beginning in March and going through about the end of July, asking if they had any body cam footage of any interaction with a motorist on Duchamp Road by Trooper Scott Lopez. And their response was, and we're going to provide their response, was that no, we do not have any records of that nature. And so, since the encounter took place while he was on duty, we've got his time sheets, and it says he was on there. We've arrived at the property. This is the property that Billy Broussard purchased in September of last year. And you will zoom in, you can even see right here, he's got some hay stored. But you can see how far back and how expansive this property is. So I'm going to let Billy kind of take over and give you the tour of his purchase of the property and you know, had it for close to a year, and I believe everything was going along pretty well until about, I don't know what, that June 14th encounter.
Right. Everything was great. Everything was well. You know, email, text messages between me and Mr. Hebert with planning and zoning. Is there anybody complaining? No, not that he was aware of. I just want to point out this is the area on the property where the trooper had, you know, followed my guy, which is, you know, is a short distance. I mean, Mr. Lopez is a distance away on the other side of there's two more tree lines, just to say, at least between here and his house. But this is the area right here where he stopped my guy and threatened us not to come down his road. And it was said too, if you know, by the time the conversation was finished, he said, well, if you don't mind, I guess Trooper made it clear to him that he did not have the right to stop me or threaten me about coming down the road, since I was not going through. I was going to my farm with my vehicles. Well, Trooper Lopez asked me, and I told him I had no problems with. He said, anytime you can, would you please come from the other direction? He didn't mind me coming down Duchamp. He just didn't want me going down in the front of his house.
I see.
So I told him, I said, Trooper, if you ask me to go a certain direction because that gives you heartburn, to going the other way, trust me, I have no problems at all. He would testify to that I said, look, I have no problems coming from the other direction. So any chance we can, we come from the other way when we come to my farm. Just because I want to be a good neighbor, and like I told him, if you need anything, you call me. If I need anything, I'll let you know. But it's just he had some serious issues with us going in the front of his house. So, you know, like I told him immediately, I texted him the next day, and I can show you the text. I said, look, let's work on, you know, I would love to work with you on what's really causing you the problems, because when I told him, look, you know how much this property was run down, how much I've put into it. He said, I don't care what you're doing on that property. I just don't want you coming down my road. So I told him the next day in a text that I would love to work with him on the problems that he does have and the issues he does have, and us working together, we could accomplish more. That's about for the most part, what happened with Trooper Lopez. And as we drive up, as you can see, it's far off the road.
Very far. I would have to say, if I had to guess, we're going to talk about at least 900 feet, am I?
That's for a little bit further back. I measured the footage. So where we at right here is probably, this right here is about say 300, 350 feet. I measured it, and as you can see, it's all nice limestone, and it was an old sawmill, and so you see a lot. It's full of concrete. There's a big concrete area here, and right here is where I began the beginnings of a mushroom farm. My tree arbors, and we have tree logs, and we've been. Now this is beyond 500 feet.
Okay. And
this is, I purposely left this right here, that way you could see when you came that this is about 2 weeks worth of, and we're in August, so this is the busy time of the year, so it being a busy time of the year, this is some logs and all from about 2 weeks worth of work.
Right, and as I understood, you don't let these just sit here indefinitely, right?
I'll provide you a picture of what it looks like after about an hour of me working. And right beyond this pile.
Well, why don't you explain what happens with them?
What I do is I take that big excavator that's right behind us, and I'll take this debris and I'll layer it in that canyon. And on the side there, that was a big canyon. That canyon is about 900 feet by 200 foot wide. And right past those trees, where the pile of trees is, it drops. If you look through that little area right here, it just drops down.
Okay.
It's just a big.
I'll try to zoom in to where we can.
It's a big canyon. We'll get some shots of it later. I'll provide you some pictures. But it's just a big canyon. So, you know.
Well, yeah, just looking horizontally, it looks like we're, way up on the tree line of some trees that I assume are down in the bottom of it.
Right. That's the top of some little trees.
Right. So that would give an idea. It's a pretty deep drop.
Right. And as you and others are aware, I have some little girls and some children that, the place is for family farm. And, we plan on doing some school activities, family activities out here. And when I first cleaned the place, this was all overgrown. So I would scrape and clean, and then it would just drop. I mean, if I wasn't careful, it wouldn't just slide in. The machine would just flip down. It's a canyon. So I layered the trees for erosion and for safety purposes right along the edge. And I could provide you some pictures, but that's been a whole year. We've been, doing this beginning stages of this mushroom, experimenting with these mushrooms on this is private. It's no, you know, commercial, nothing commercial. But we're at the beginning stages. We've been visiting with a lot of different people on, you know, these ideas of trying to create a product in Louisiana that we think will work, and that's mushrooms. And you know, if you do any research on mushrooms, they'll say big logs are the way to go. The problem is it takes big equipment to move move the logs for the mushrooms. So I have both. I have the logs and I have the big equipment. So this is it. This is what we have here, and we're looking forward to experimenting and seeing if we can make this work. You never know.
Very good. And I'll tell you, we maybe get a little bit of footage if we can on the magnitude of the drop. But I just want to let everybody know this was an introduction to Billy Broussard's venture in purchasing this property off on Duchamp Road. And he told you about the encounter with Trooper Scott Lopez on June the 14th. And in segment 2, we'll be kind of giving you a little bit of more detail of he's taking us back toward how far this goes back now.
Yeah, the one good thing about this property, all the water, I have to bring it up, all the water we really don't need to drain into parish ditches or anything like that. With the water, it's self-contained. As you can look, there's about 5 to 6 or so separate ponds. I think it might be even more than that. But you see how you look down there? So you got a big big pond. Now this big pond, you'll see in the videos we provide that we flew it with a drone. You'll see how large of a magnitude of these big this area is. Which this is a different canyon than the one that the mushrooms are going to be growing in. But this is,
yeah, if you'll bring it to, there you go. If you bring it to a stop, there you go.
Look, all the wood ducks flying out there. Turned till they went to the side. So it's pretty neat. The problem is seeing the wood ducks this time of the year with all the brush have a lot of cover. But look over here. See all the wood ducks flying out. But as I drive you around, you'll see. I mean, you'll count 100 wood ducks easy. So the idea is no hunting. The property is, it's full of wood ducks, full of wildlife. The problems also with big cats. I guess lynx or bobcats. But the property had been being hunted, and we're trying to, it's not.
Are we nearing the end of how far it goes back, or does it go even further?
If you even want a video that far, it goes way out. So the point is, see, we have another pond here. So there's multiple ponds. So what I'm trying to say is, it can handle its own drainage. Look through there. Look right here. Look video. Look all the ducks coming out from underneath the trees. See them down there? If you watch them blow the horn, they're gonna pop up. See them? They're not even scared because nobody's hunting it. We're trying to keep all the hunters out of here. See how they just need. You can video if you want. My point is just look across, man. Look through that gap right there. Look. You're gonna see. We had gators back here. I haven't seen them in a while, but they look good, especially when we go back there and look way across. I don't know if you can see that good. It's full of ducks way out there.
No, okay.
To your right a little bit. Back there, we got a lot of pictures of them. And it's, for the kids, they love to come out here and look through the trees and see ducks everywhere. Multiple areas.
Well, as he's given us this guided tour, taking us even further back, as he said, it's 33 acres. I'll just say that when we cover segment 2, because this will be a multi-part segment, I think you'll find it very interesting because it probably sheds a little light that there may have been some follow-up after the encounter with Trooper Lopez on it was June the 14th, correct?
Right, June the 14th. I believe that's the date, June the 14th. It was he began that day at about 4:30 with him coming out of his driveway.
And for the record, and we'll provide the timesheets, Trooper Lopez reported that on that day he was on the clock from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. And so this was obviously an indication that he was certainly at his home at around 4:30 or before 4:30. He was on the clock at the time that he encountered your driver, correct?
Yeah, and he was in his unit, but he was at his house about 4:30, and that's when he pulled out. And we have phone records to show, because my guy called me, and then I called Trooper Lopez back, so it's all can easily be proven what time it was, and I made the phone call to Troop I.
Correct.
It's all on my phone bill, because immediately I said, wait a minute, I got a problem. Like my guy calls me and says, man, we got a problem, because the trooper just pulled me over and said, better not come back down his road. So I immediately called Troop I, because with his threats, he said, you come back down this road, I'm writing you up. And he was working with the parish, so I didn't know if state police had made some sort of agreement or was working with the parish, or that it was him acting on his own, and I have yet to figure out if that's...
Well, and that's an interesting point you're making, and we'll kind of wrap this one up, and when we present segment 2, we're going to provide a little evidence that we're still not sure whether he was working on his own, but we believe you'll find segment 2 very interesting. I'm not going to tip our hands of what's in it, but we believe it'll show some evidence that there's a lot of forces at work in this whole situation. So I guess we're going to kind of consider this, unless you got some final comments you'd like to make, Billy. We appreciate getting this incredible tour. That's one of the things we like to do at Sound Off Louisiana. We don't like to just sit behind a desk. We're out here live. Well, you're not seeing it live, but we're out here providing you. It's one thing to try to describe something in writing. It's another thing to take a video camera out. And it reminds me of sometime back when we toured Nelda Dural's school in New Iberia. You can't substitute actually seeing what we're getting to see now. And so you purchased this property, I believe it was for about $90,000 or $92,000 back in September of last year.
Yes, $90,000.
$90,000.
It was really, the truth is, it was run down, and anybody that had looked at it that was very interested in it just said it's going to take somebody with some large equipment to be able to do anything with it. When we've been able to drive with my truck, there was no way in the world.
Would have been impossible.
Not even with a four-wheeler. You could not even. No one would have even made that walk. We cleared all that and opened all that up. So we just drove in my truck with no problem at all. You couldn't even. Nobody would.
It was inaccessible, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Nobody would have even walked.
Well, so we're going to wrap up this segment 1. Trust me, this will be a 4-part segment, possibly even a 5th segment. You're going to be very intrigued at segments 2 and segments 3. But we just wanted to introduce you to this purchase that Billy Broussard made, and just see. We've already told you about the fallout from Trooper Scott Lopez on June the 14th, and we're going to follow that up with a little bit more indication that there was some more fallout from that encounter. So we look forward to bringing you segment 2. Once again, this is Robert Burns. We are filming here in St. Martin Parish with Billy Broussard. I want to thank you so much for giving us this tour of the property, and we look forward to bringing you segment 2 on this exciting installment episode.
It'll get interesting.
It's going to get very interesting. Thank you so much, Billy.
Very welcome. Thank you, audience.